Talk to me, James. So I want to tell you a little bit about this song. I wrote this song because I was kind of struggling with the idea of divinity. I was like, out there, and then me. And out there, you're thinking something about me that I don't really like you thinking about me. Right? You know? And it's like I'm always feeling this thing. And this song kind of came as an answer that God is thinking me good. No ifs, ands, ors, or buts. God is thinking me good. When I get up in the morning, Spirit greets me with a smile on my face. There's nothing to do but just say thank you and swim around in her love and grace. You know that God is thinking me good. God is thinking me good. No ifs, ands, ors, buts, sometimes should. You know that God is thinking me good. And when my mind gets dark and cloudy, and stinking thinking is becoming my way, I just lift up my hands and say, Mother, help me, and watch my troubles crumble away. You know that God is thinking me good. God is thinking me good. No ifs, ands, ors, buts, sometimes should. You know that God is thinking me good. Dance break! Okay, loosen it up a little bit for me with the bass, would you? No, it's all about that bass. It's like clearing your sinuses, but better. And when this earthly life is over, and I am walking towards that beautiful ray, there's nothing I can do but just say thank you for giving me so many todays. You know that God is thinking me good. God is thinking me good. No ifs, ands, ors, buts, sometimes should. You know that God is thinking me good. God is thinking me good. God is thinking me good. No ifs, ands, ors, buts, sometimes should. You know that God is thinking me good.
I'm going to talk to you about something very powerful. It is in abundance, and it's everywhere. And depending on what you do with it, it can either do you a great service, or it can do you a great disservice. That power is your thoughts. Catherine Vader actually said that at the beginning of her TED Talk on the power of thought, so I thought I'd steal it and give her credit, because it was really good. But it reminded me of a psychology professor who held up a glass of water and asked, how much water is in it? I know you thought I was going to say, is it half empty or half full? But no, really, how many ounces of water? How much? I actually don't know. But here's the deal. The longer I hold it, the heavier it gets. Like right now, it's okay. But if I held this the whole service, it would be hurting. And our thoughts that are negative and judgmental, they're like this glass of water, the stresses in our life. If you think about them for a while, it's like no big deal. It's okay. It's all right. But if you think about them a bit longer, they start to hurt. And if you think about them all day long, your arm becomes paralyzed. And your whole body aches. And it's really important to remember to just put the glass down. And you can choose to do that or not. It's up to you. Because we have the choice in all of this. Everything is our daily choice. However, one thing that's really hard to think about, maybe, is our own thoughts, because we have 60,000 thoughts a day. 60,000. Most of which are random, and they're not really worthy of discussion, and perhaps they're the same thoughts that you thought yesterday and the day before and the day before. Yeah. And if we pay really close attention to the repeated ones, it might show you where you have some work to do. As a matter of fact, Ernest Holmes said that a trained thought is thousands of times more powerful than an untrained thought. Thousands. You know what a trained thought is? Intention, prayer, affirmations. Those are trained thoughts, thousands of times more powerful. Now just think of this. Imagine a beautiful grassy meadow and a little deer walking upon the meadow, and then it goes off. Well, there's not much of a path there, right? But then you start getting multiple deer, and they're walking along the path. And soon, there becomes an actual path there. And they go over and over again, and soon the grass doesn't grow there. And it's clear from the outside, well, there's the deer path. There it is. But it happened over time because they walked over it. Well, that's how our thoughts are. That's how our brain is. Our neurotransmitters activate in a certain way, and we have a thought, and then they activate over and over. We have the same thought over and over and over and over again. And soon it starts building like caverns, highways in our brains, where we don't even have to actually think about it. We just automatically, fall into those caverns or go onto those highways. And that's where our subconscious is. And those superhighways or those caverns are our beliefs. And they're there, they're like ingrained. Because we've been thinking them so long, we don't even have to think about them anymore. They just happen, they just occur. They're just how we operate. The crazy thing is, for many of us, all of us, our beliefs were formed when we were kids. And they were formed by our families, the societies we grew up in, the places that we grew up in, and we didn't consciously know what it was. We were just taught, this is what it is. And we took it on and we said yes. And then now as adults, we're operating across those same belief structures that were implanted in us when we were kids. And we're still operating off of those. But the opportunity is that you have the chance to shift and change those beliefs if they're not serving you. You don't have to be that same person if it doesn't serve you anymore. Emmett Fox said, "What you think upon grows. Whatever you allow to occupy your mind, you magnify in your life. Whether the subject of your thought be good or bad, the law works and the condition grows. Any subject you keep out of your mind tends to diminish in your life because what you do not use atrophies. And the more you think of grievances, the more such trials you will continue to receive. The more you think of good fortune, the more good fortune will come to you." So what's in your thoughts? What have you been thinking? You can notice what's happening in your life, and it will give you an indication. But let me do a little experiment. Don't think of pink elephants. Do not think of them. Do not imagine in your head in any way. Do not see pink elephants at all. Do not. Now, how many people in the room saw pink elephants whenever I said pink elephants? Right? So that's when we say, don't do this, then our mind is automatically like, what are we focused on? That thing that we do not want, right? I don't want this. What we resist persists because we're actually putting our attention on it. And what we focus on attracts more of in our life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge you this week to actually think about pink elephants. I dare you to think about pink elephants. And then I want to see who sees a pink elephant. Now, by the way, I will tell you, I thought of this before I knew there was a pink elephant car wash. I did not know. I just found out between services, so I can be left off the hook. If you happen to drive that every day, well, that's not my fault. I mean, you thought of it, pink elephants. But I'll be very impressed to hear how many people actually see a pink elephant in the next week. If you intentionally think about it, then notice the power of your thoughts and what you attract to you. How do you think your beliefs affect your life? See, when I started in this teaching, I realized I had a lot of negative self-talk. And I realized that the self-talk that's negative actually doesn't serve me. Fancy that. And once I realized that my thinking was affecting my life, I couldn't use it as an excuse anymore. So whatever you've labeled your deficiencies, like let's say you might say, I am judgmental, or I'm a procrastinator, or I am wounded. Eckhart Tolle says in A New Earth that we should never put I am in front of anything negative, any negative statement. Instead, use the words I feel. So let's say judgment. I notice that somebody is walking down the street and they look magnificent, but instead of me thinking, oh, they look magnificent, I judge them, right? And then I think, oh, I'm so judgmental. But instead of thinking that, I can think, I am feeling judgmental. And I can shift into the, why do I feel judgmental? Well, I feel judgmental because I'm not feeling very good about myself. And I'm feeling jealous. And if I'm not feeling good about myself, maybe I need to work on some self-love. So you can see how everything out there is really a reflection of what's going on in here. And anything that you're using, I am, so this is what I think that true blasphemy is. See, I am is the name of God. And if you say I am and you follow that with something that is not the description of what God is, then you're being blasphemous. So instead of doing that, you can only say, I am, and then claim those expressions of the divine that you are. I am powerful. I am beautiful. I'm magnificent. I am light. I am divine. I am beauty. I am love expressed. And when you're not able to say that, you can say, I feel, and then look back at it and say, why do I feel that? Why am I not doing the things that I've said I'm committed to doing? What's going on there? Why am I not in integrity? Maybe I need to look at what I'm doing, and maybe I'm putting energy on things that I don't need to be putting energy on, or I need to shift my priorities around. But it's an opportunity to really look at what you're saying out there to reflect on what's going on in here. Can you and your words influence the environment? So not only yourself, but what about outside yourself? Or what about inside yourself? One of the coolest studies I know that's ever been done, I feel, was done in 1994. Dr. Masaru Emoto. He conducted an experiment with water to test out an hypothesis on how positive and negative words affect our environment. And what he did is he had distilled water, and he put words on the outside of bottles, and then he had them in little secluded areas for 24 hours, and then he pulled them out, and he got the water, and he froze it, and he noticed what happened. And you can see that what happened is when he used the words, thank you, it got that water crystal. When he used the words, you make me sick, there was nothing that formed as a crystal. Love and appreciation is what he put for gratitude. And then he even got some polluted water that he found in his city. He froze it first to see what the polluted water looked like, and that's the water before prayer. The same water bottle, he prayed over it. And then the next day, froze the water, and you can see what the result is. This is the effect that we have on the world around us. We are made up of 70% water. Now imagine what those words are doing. The words you speak to yourself, the words you speak to other people, there's a power in those words. And those words come from a thought. And you have the power to change that thought. You have the power to have a new thought. That's why we're in a new thought teaching. It's amazing because the water crystals exemplify what is going on in our life. That which is disorganized, or what people call evil, or words that have a negative intentionality behind them, can be cleansed and healed and transformed. Each and every one of you, if you walked into this room, imagine this powerful group of people having that intentionality. Now, the coolest thing was he did these experiments from afar as well. He did experiments on prayer. So for those of you who are online, if you've ever asked for prayer from us, the same result happened. He noticed that a group of people with intention and prayer around a body of water could actually shift and transform that entire body of water, which means it transformed the people drinking the water, it transformed the people around the water. Imagine the power that you have. How are you choosing to use it? And do you want to shift it? Wayne Dyer said, choose to avoid thoughts that weaken you, and you will know true wisdom. It is absolutely your choice. So what is it that you need to change about your beliefs? Now, one thing I know, imagine again, the untrained thought as like the deer. Now imagine the trained thought is like an elephant. An elephant walking through a grass pasture makes quite a big difference than a deer. You can have that power. You can do that very thing by choosing to direct your thoughts in a new way. And the cool thing is you can actually change your belief systems. Even though your belief systems were created after repeated and repeated and repeated thoughts, that you can actually choose to have a new one and then repeat it over and over and over again. And this is what we call spiritual practice, intentional spiritual practice. And you can continue on that process and do it and have it change your life. Because it not only changes you internally, but it changes you externally. Now, we talked about the external, but Bruce Lipton, have you heard of him? Some of you, yes, some of you know. Look him up. He is a cellular biologist. He's a leading authority in the field of cellular biology. And what he said is that your mind will adjust your own body biology and behavior to fit in with your beliefs. So if you've been told that you'll die within 6 months and you believe it, you'll die within 6 months. That's called the nocebo effect. The nocebo. It's the result of a negative thought, which is the opposite of the placebo effect. And that's where they do studies often all the time, and they'll give somebody a pill, and they'll say, Karen, this pill is going to create health and well-being in your life. And then Karen, all of a sudden, whatever illness she has goes away. And she thought she took something, but really it was nothing, except she took a belief system on that shifted and changed her life. Now that can change not only in one person, but it can change within a group of people. If you're within a group of people whose intentionality is about health and well-being and healing, it's like you walk into that pool and you're just drenched with it. But who are you keeping around you? They say that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. This bodes really well for me because I hang out with Kathy Ann and Bev and Harold, and this is my work day. Monica, oh my God. So freaking lucky, because what do I bathe in whenever I walk into my work? But it's great. It's the same thing when you walk into spiritual community, that the intentionality of the group can actually shift and change you without you even knowing about it. And you can choose to say, yes, I choose to be in this place of intentionality that my belief system is changing just by me walking in. And the cool thing is you don't have to figure out how to do it. You just got to be open and choose to have it happen to you. Just be open. Be willing. Be willing to accept it. I'm willing to accept a healing. I'm willing to experience miracles. I'm willing to be in a group of people who I'm uplifted by just by being in their presence. I'm willing. And the beautiful thing about being in places like this where you continually are reminded, it's like you get this garden, you're planting the garden, you're planting the garden, you're planting the garden, right? You're planting bulbs, you're planting amazing, beautiful flowers. And in the springtime, the garden blooms and you get all of these amazing flowers, and some flowers you didn't plant, and then there's even a weed that you didn't plant, right? But the weed that you didn't plant, all you have to do is pick it out and let it go. Notice it. It's not like I go, oh my God, weed, I can't believe you chose to grow in my garden. I can't, I'm so insulted by you, weed. Jeez, weed. It's like, pick it up, toss it out, let it go. And so many people are just observing, oh my God, there was a weed in my garden. And well, who cares? Just let it, there it was there. We are in a field of consciousness. And even when you're surrounded by amazing, powerful intentionality, sometimes those weeds come up. Sometimes they're weeds from your past. Sometimes they're weeds from your family. Doesn't matter. Just pick them up, say thank you for being here, and goodbye. And the great thing is that's all you have to do. You don't have to dwell on it. You don't have to say, oh, this is such a crappy life because I had a weed in my garden. Oh my God. You could just move on. So I have a homework for you. Take an index card or a sheet in your journal or a thing in your phone. And notice how many times you say, I can't. Notice that this week, notice how many times you say, I can't. So I can't. I can't is an indication of a false belief system. People say, oh, I can't afford it. Well, that's a belief system that you inherited that's coming up. So make a note. So here's the deal. It's the weed is there. Okay, you're making a note. You're paying attention. And then you get to kind of clear it away, right? You get to pick it out. You make a note of the judgment. you ask yourself, am I willing to let this go? Am I willing to let this go? Am I willing to let this story go that I can't afford it? Am I willing to let it go? And if the answer is yes, which hopefully it will be, I mean, you could choose to hang out in the weeds or not. You can let it go. And all you have to do is choose to let it go. It doesn't mean you have to actually do anything except just let it go. You don't have to try to let it go. You don't have to work at letting it go. Just let it go. Just say, I choose to let it go. All right, yes, I choose to let it go. Yeah, I let it go. There you go. Then ask yourself, what would it be if I really let it go? What would it look like? What would it feel like? How could it get any better than this? Just ask the questions. You don't even have to have the answers. Just ask the questions. And say, I'm willing to receive. So if you do that little process all week long, it will shift and change things for you. Because here's the beautiful thing. God, the universe, the infinite great creator takes care of the how. You don't have to worry, how am I going to let it go? You already said I'm letting it go. You did it. God takes care of the rest of it. And you actually just surrender it, like you actually let it go. And the beautiful thing is that this really works. 12-step, that's what they do in 12-step. Why does it work? Is because people surrender. They're like, oh my God, there's a weed. I recognize there's a behavior, a habit, a something that's in my life. But I choose not to have it operate in my life anymore. And so I choose to let it go. I surrender it to a higher power, the power that knows what to do with it. I don't have to worry about that. I can just let it go. And let this higher power that knows how to make the whole planet spin and knows how to do all of these amazing, brilliant things, it can figure out the how. You just get to be a available vessel for allowing the newness to come through. And this is the perfect time of year to do that. This is the time, now. So do that process and then shift into gratitude about that belief thing. So if it was, I can't, because I'm broke, you can, first of all, you can say, some other words also are choose. I choose to pay for this instead of this. Or I choose to be a place where abundance shows up. Or I choose, instead of I can't, what do you choose? Choose what you want to choose. You get to be the deciding factor in your life. You get to choose. If you're not enjoying it, choose differently. A lot of times in our relationships, it's like, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? Just choose happy. It's okay, we can evolve. It's humbling, but it's all right. Happy. Happy. And then in their gratitude, shift into gratitude. I'm so grateful and thankful for how much money I have in my life. I'm so grateful and thankful for the abundance I do see, and start noticing how you do have that thing. Because you've already given it, you've noticed that belief system is there, you've let it go, and then you start noticing how you do have that thing and pay attention to it. Gratitude is one of the most important things. We have our book of the month, Science and Spiritual Practices. In this book, Rupert Sheldrake, he wrote it, and he's a scientist, and he was an atheist. And then he started studying all these different philosophies and religious practices, and he found scientific proof and evidence that they shift and change people's life, whether or not you believe in whatever religion you believe in. If you do these practices, they absolutely transform your life. And his second practice is gratitude. Create a gratitude practice, especially in the morning or in the evening. Make it easy, laying in bed. Oh my gosh. Put some intention out there. I am so grateful for my magnificent life. And so in the morning, I have this amazing cat. Her name is Kitty. And she waits until my alarm clock goes off. I know, creative. There's a story behind that, but anyway, I'll tell you later. So Kitty waits for my alarm clock to go off, and then she jumps on top of me, and then she purrs, and she gives me love, and she's so cute. And I'm so grateful in the morning. I'm so grateful for my kitty loves. So grateful. What a way to start out a morning. Can you imagine starting your morning off with gratitude? Things you're grateful for. I'm so grateful. I have these amazing new sheets. Oh my God, I'm so grateful. They're so soft. I'm so grateful for my wife making me coffee in the morning. You are too, trust me. I'm so grateful for all of the people that I have in my life. And then shift in the morning from gratitude to intention. It's my intention to have an amazing day. It's my intention to welcome all the good that is mine to have. It's my intention to have an even better day than I had yesterday. Now imagine the power of directing the day at the beginning of the day versus allowing the subconscious soup that is society to dictate how your day goes. It's so much better. I invite you to try it out. And if you want to do an even greater gratitude practice, try and send a note or a postcard or a tweet or a text to somebody every day this week to tell them how grateful you are for them. Because the practice of gratitude, as we said before, what you put your attention on grows. So when you're grateful for things, then you get an expansion of gratitude in your life, and you have more things to be grateful for. Who wants that? Anybody? Anybody? Yeah? All right. In 1976, they published a paper on the Maharishi effect. It was reported that 1% of the community practiced transcendental meditation. Crime rate was reduced by 16%. Now, you're doing this because I'm inviting you to do it individually. But I want to invite you to do these things collectively as well. Find out where you can practice collective gratitude here, maybe. Maybe you want to do our Book of the Month workshop. Maybe you want to create an intention with Kathy Ann's intention workshop today. But the power of collective intention, the power of collective meditation, the power of collective gratitude shifts things in cities. They were able to do these amazing experiments on huge populations. So what if you were the cause of something shifting in this planet for the betterment of humanity? What if that was your charge, that your own individual spiritual practice could literally shift and change this entire planet? Would you be willing to do it then? Would you be willing to make such a, I want to say sacrifice, but really is it? Would you be willing to spend 10 minutes in the morning to take care of the gratitude that you love in your life, which will not only expand your life, but then this community's life, and then that larger community's life, and then the world's life? Did you know that we were praying for rain last Sunday, and Reverend Karen did a service all about rain, and then it rained in Australia? Did you know that when we had Seebeck, there were fires going on and in the rainforest, and Kathy Ann did several different group intentional things about rain, and it rained in the rainforest when it was on fire? Can you imagine the power we have to do good in this world? But I need you to do that for you, because we need you for us. So if you're willing to do that, will you say yes? Yes. Are you willing to be a force for good in the world?
Yes.
Are you willing to take a stand for yourself and everybody here?
Yes.
Are you willing to be the best self you can be?
Yes.
Are you willing to pull those weeds out?
Yes.
Are you willing to see pink elephants?
Yes.
Got you there. Well, I declare it, I know it, and so it is. Well, let's let's use that collective energy and the power of prayer, and let's put our intention on all of us. On all of us, whether we're here, whether we're online, all around the world. Just for a minute, focus on something that you love in your heart and soul. A kitty, a partner, a child, a spouse, a parent, somebody or something you love deeply, and just feel that love swell in your heart. And feel that love touch the person in front of you and behind you and to the right of you and to the left of you. And feel it go down into the earth and up into the sky. And feel it go beyond the walls, out into the city, out into this country. Feel it touch the heart and soul of people who are crying right now. People who've lost a loved one, people who are in war. Just feel the love for them. And imagine the peace that permeates the souls that are connected here in this network of love. People who don't even know they're walking their dogs right now. And that something is activated inside of them where they are shifted, where they are uplifted just because of this message of love that we intend out in this globe, out in this world. And so I open to it. I declare that God is the one that is making all of us surrender our old beliefs, surrender the old way of being. I surrender it all, and I open to that greatest expression of love in me, through me, around me. I spread it out. I know that I am a representation of it. I represent it out into the world so people know what it looks like to be loved and adored and appreciated by a God that knows only good. And I hold that in my heart right here and right now. And I know that because of it, it has transformed me, it has transformed every person in this room, and it has transformed this city, this country, and this planet. And for that, I am deeply grateful, and so it is. Thank you.
Thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Be careful what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of gratefulness, and know that God is always there. Thought becomes a prayer. Our thoughts are prayers, the tools that we create with. Our thoughts are prayers that Spirit resonates with. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of mindfulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. Our thoughts are prayers.